It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood because it's not 100 degrees outside this particular day. And we welcome you to a truly cool edition of the Tulsa World Scene podcast. I'm joined today by my lovely and talented colleagues, Grace Wood and Jimmie Tramel. And we will be talking about things happening in the world of entertainment, culture, and whatever else strikes our fancy. For those of you who breathlessly follow each and every episode, you may remember that last year, oh, I've not had enough coffee today. Last week, one of the things we discussed was the recent passing of Nichelle Nichols, the actress who played Lieutenant Uhura on the original Star Trek. And Jimmie, you said at the time you were working on something, and I believe that work has paid off.
Yeah, in Friday's Tulsa World and the TulsaWorld.com, we'll have a story about the longtime friendship between Nichelle Nichols and a Tulsa resident, Dr. Carrie Mark Joles, and they met in the 1970s while Nichelle Nichols was recruiting minorities and women to be part of the NASA Space Shuttle program. They teamed up on that project. He helped her write the final report on that initiative, and they've been longtime friends ever since. And it's really important to Carrie to continue her life's work beyond her death. So there's things happening in that regard.
Okay, all right. Well, speaking of carrying on after death, the musical Pretty Woman is coming to the Tulsa PAC on August 23rd. And the original movie was directed by Gary Marshall, who created the TV series Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. And this was like his first film directing. It turns out that his wife was someone who thought that the movie could be a musical, and she said it took her a while to convince him of that. And we have an interview with her. She has a new book coming out. For those of you who might see this, it's called A One-Way Ticket to LA. And it is her autobiography. She does have an Oklahoma connection. Her mother was born in Chickasha, and she says she still has family in Oklahoma, and she's planning on being here on opening night of the musical, bringing, I believe she said, a carload of cousins with her. So we'll be talking with her, or we'll have an interview with her, and also an interview with the woman playing the title role of Vivian, made famous by Julia Roberts. Her name is Olivia Valli, and if that sounds vaguely familiar, she is the granddaughter of Frankie Valli of the Four Seasons. And so we'll have and she also was in a off-Broadway production of Jersey Boys, playing her grandmother. So we'll talk to her about that bit of art, imitating life. Now, Grace, I know that for us today, you have a truly dirty story to tell.
Yeah, I got down and dirty this week. No, but I have a gardening related story. I talked to a local couple named Carla and Kelly Grog, and they are just two locals who never really had a passion for gardening until a family member of theirs was diagnosed with cancer. And they wanted to do everything they could to help. So they started researching organic farming so that they could grow produce that didn't have pesticides or harsh chemicals in it. And this really just turned into a passion for gardening that led them to open an organic garden center, which they had for 10 years, but there was still a problem. The Grogs realized that so much of the soil that's out there is just really full of harsh chemicals that's harmful to plants and harmful for us to consume. So they sort of said to themselves, now we have this gardening background, we kind of know what we're doing. Why don't we just make our own soil? So they pivoted their business to focus just on organic soil, and they started selling it just out of like unmarked plastic bags. And there was just a huge demand, especially after the past few years. Like during the pandemic, a lot more people kind of got into gardening and growing their own food at home, especially with like grocery store shortages and stuff like that. So they got really popular, and now they have a full business called GP Soils that supplies organic soil to 7 local vendors. And they just want to keep expanding and keep encouraging people to grow their own plants and produce, like just sort of spreading the message that you can garden anywhere. You don't have to have, a lot of land or a tractor. You can really grow healthy food wherever you have space and a little bit of sunlight. So yeah, they're just trying to spread awareness about that. And I'll have more on their family and their story and background, and their soil in this Saturday's Tulsa World.
Now, did I hear you say that the last name is Grog?
Yes.
Now, were they the family that owned the Grog's Green Barn
Yes.
a while back? Okay. All right.
They were. Mhm.
Okay. Well, you got to admire people that are creating their own dirt. I mean, that's
Exactly.
that's something new. Well, speaking of organic and natural, our food review this week is of a local company called ah-sigh-e, spelled AH-SIGH and then E, which is the phonetic pronunciation or phonetic spelling of the acai berry that is the superfood from the Amazon region. They recently opened their 5th location across the street from the church studios, and we have a review of what they have to offer. They are try to be completely transparent in what they sell, and that they literally include every ingredient of everything that's in what they do. So that's this in this week's weekend section, so check that out. One of the things for which Tulsa is known around the country is the Tulsa Sound, which is a unique musical style that developed here. And Jimmy, I think you have an interview with some Tulsa Sound royalty.
Yeah, Ann Bell has 2 things. One, she has a title. She's the queen of the Tulsa Sound. She toured with Joe Cocker. She toured with Leon Russell. And in addition to having a title, she also has stories, and very funny and very good stories. And she's shared many of those because she's returning home. She lives out of state now, but she's returning home for a show with Jim Sweeney, a reunion show at Maggie's Music Box in Jinx. She was inducted in the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame last year, and probably I'm sure from a publicity standpoint, we haven't given her due quite yet. So maybe this will help spread the word about people who don't know about Ann Bell, her career, the things she's done, and how she ran away people from her yard when they were camping out to see Leon Russell.
Okay. So was she also the originator of Get Off My Lawn, I guess, in a way? But anyway. Oh, and for those of you who are viewing this on video, we just like you to know that whenever you see one of us taking a pause to enjoy a beverage, that we encourage you also to enjoy a beverage with us.
I thought you might have a drinking game or something. I didn't know. I mean,
well, this podcast would need to get very, very long or be over very, very quickly. One more thing we've got coming up on is something called the Hewlett Collection. It's a new art gallery on Cherry Street near Peoria, on 50th and Peoria, in that block right there. The owner is a man named Michael Hewlett. He is a Tulsa native who, for the past 15 or so years, was living and working in the Los Angeles area for professional photographers managing their studios and also working with the professional art gallery. And he's amassed a impressive collection of fine art photography, and his gallery opened in the end of July with an exhibit called A Century of Photography. And it is some fascinating images from the 1920s to the 2020s. And we'll have a story about that coming up in this Sunday's Tulsa World. And also look for a review of Theater Tulsa's first production of its 100th anniversary season, Something Rotten. Let's just say, if you need to laugh, this is the show to see. So, well, I believe we have covered everything from the topsoil to high culture. So on behalf of my colleagues, Grace Wood and Jimmie Tramel, we bid you a pleasant good day, and thank you, Miss Ellerbach, wherever you may be.
Behave.
Bye.